Jenenge
Dia is difficult to spell professor names.
Okay.
Beliau itu dari mana?
I'm going to start.
Dari Chai University.
Pak, temannya Bu Maying.
Oh, iya.
Temannya Bu Maying.
Ya. Prof Kuo-Hung is friends of Professor Maying, isn't it, Prof?
Maying, yeah. Professor Kuo-Hung and
yeah.
Huang.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm going
Jadi
to
bisa dimulai biar Pak Dikan sama siapa Pak Dikan?
Monggo Anji.
Oke, saya kira bisa dimulai.
Oh ya.
Bu Yarti. Pak Dikan segera ada kegiatan lansar dan sebagainya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The Honorable Speaker, Professor Kuo-Hung Huang from National Chia University, Taiwan, the Honorable Dean and Vice Deans of Faculty of Education, Universitas Negeri Yogyakarta, the Honorable Head of Departments of Faculty of Education, Universitas Negeri Yogyakarta. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the guest lecture program presented by the Department of Curriculum and Educational Technology. I'm Yanti. It is my pleasure to be a moderator for this session on the topic of mobile learning and outdoor science education. Before we start the agenda, I'm going to invite the Dean of Faculty of Education, Bapak Dr. Sujarwo, MPD, to give a speech and opening remark.
Ya. Ini untuk saya masuk dulu.
For today's lecture program. Bapak Dr. Sujarwo, the floor is yours. Pak Dekan bisa memberi sambutan sekarang. Monggo, Pak.
Oke, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum.
Alhamdulillahalamin. Yang sangat kami hormati. Mohon maaf ini saya bawa ke bahasa Indonesia ini. Aku tidak rasa ngomong. Honorable Prof. Kuo-Hung Huang, NU Taiwan, yang kami hormati Bapak Wakil Dekan 1, bidang akademik dan keuangan, akademik dan kerjasama, yang kami hormati Bapak Wakil Dekan bidang umum dan keuangan, Bapak Wakil Dekan bidang kemahasiswaan dan alumni, Bapak Kajur, TP, Ibu Sekjur, Bapak Ibu Kajur di lingkungan FUNJ. Sebelumnya marilah kita panjatkan atas syukur kita pada Allah SWT, Tuhan Yang Maha Esa. Alhamdulillah pada pagi hari ini kita semua masih diberi kesempatan, kesehatan oleh Allah untuk melaksanakan kegiatan guest lecture di Prodi TP ini, mengambil tema Mobile Learning and Outdoor Science Education bersama Prof. Kuo-Hung Huang. Pertama, kedua, kami dari fakultas mengucapkan banyak terima kasih atas prakarsa, ide dari teman-teman TP, dan juga terima kasih pada Prof. Kuo-Hung Huang dari NCU Taiwan yang terus menjalin kerjasama dengan kami di fakultas. Mudah-mudahan kegiatan ini berjalan dengan lancar, dengan baik, dan tidak hanya berhenti di guest lecture. Mudah-mudahan nanti kegiatan ini berlanjut pada publikasi, kemudian juga pada transfer kredit antara kami di fakultas dengan NCU ini. Selanjutnya, mohon dari Prof. Kuo-Hung Huang memberikan injeksi, memberikan motivasi kepada mahasiswa kami dan Bapak Ibu dosen di TP agar lebih inovatif, lebih kreatif dalam mengembangkan model-model pembelajaran dan juga media pembelajaran. Maka tema hari ini sangat menarik dan sangat inovatif, Mobile Learning and Outdoor Science Education. Ini yang hari ini mulai dikembangkan hadirnya pandemi saat ini. Saya rasa itu aja, Bapak Ibu yang kami hormati. Selamat untuk melanjutkan diskusi lektur. Mudah-mudahan Allah meridhai. Mari kegiatan-kegiatan dari program dari Qualitative ini kita buka dengan bacaan basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Bapak Dr. Sujarwo, for your welcoming speech. So basically, Professor Kuo-Hung, the Dean of Faculty of Education, very grateful for you to be able to participate to this program. And we do hope that we can have a further collaborative cooperation in the future. Okay. And now we are going to move to the main agenda. But first of all, let me briefly introduce you our guest from National Chia University.
Assalamualaikum. Alhamdulillah, pengestun Ibu sehat. Semangat ya Bu.
Okay. Prof. Kuo-Hung Huang is a distinguished professor in the Department of E-Learning Design and Management at National Chia University, Taiwan. He graduated with a bachelor degree in computer science from Millersville University of Pennsylvania, USA, a master degree in computer science from North Carolina State University, USA, and a doctoral degree or PhD in science education with concentration in computer education from National Changhua University of Education, Taiwan. Prof. Kuo-Hung Huang's research interests are e-learning, digital humanities, and social studies education. For years, he has been the principal investigator of research projects in the Taiwan e-learning and digital archives program, as well as digital humanities program. He and his team develop digital media to enhance students' learning at school. In addition, he distributes animations of the digitized resources to the general public for further disseminating knowledge and culture. Professor Huang enjoys conducting interdisciplinary research with colleges from various fields, including medical e-learning, science education, and mobile learning. His recent research on integrating GIS with science learning and humanity learning has increasingly been recognized in the scholarly community. In 2012, one of his published journal article was awarded Best Paper of the Year by National Council of Geography Education in USA. In addition, he has served as visiting scholar or invited speaker at universities in Japan, UK, Australia, USA, and Lithuania. Believing that learning is beyond discipline and culture, he spends much time establishing connection with foreign universities. Sorry, I have a problem with network. Okay, I'm going to repeat one briefly thing. In addition, he has served a visiting scholar or invited speaker at universities in Japan, UK, Australia, USA, and Lithuania. Believing that learning is beyond discipline and culture, He spends much time establishing connections with foreign universities to pursue academic cooperation and exchange opportunities for students. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Kuo-Hung Huang. Professor, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for your introduction, and thank you for our colleagues from Indonesia to attend this event. This is my pleasure to share my research with you. Hopefully, we can have some further collaboration in the future. Okay, so I'm going to start my presentation. So, can you see this one?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. My topic is mobile learning and auto science education. So it's a case study. So I use mobile device as a learning media to enhance students' learning during the field trip. Okay. This is my outlines. First, I introduced about the application of mobile device. Okay, then now introduced to studies. Okay, and then I have some conclusion. First, okay, field trip is a common activities is a school. They used to provide students with authentic and situational experience. For example, your field trips to a museum, to a zoo, or to some industry uh, to, to experience the authentic situation. Also, field trips provide a free choice learning opportunity. So it's a free choice learning settings. So students can just walk around, so they can choose to what to see or what to learn. However, although it's a free choice learning, but uh, there's no clear connection with class activities. There's one problem um, because the content of the course is not necessarily related to the field trip destination. So from some literature review, either in United States or in many countries, or for example in Taiwan, most teachers or parents or students, they consider field trip is a activity for leisure purpose, not for education, no purpose. So they just want to relax. So maybe have some fun, but they don't consider there's an opportunity to learn during this field trip. Okay, so in my studies, I try to apply mobile technology to enhance student learning during the field trip. So uh, as we know, there's mobile phones are becoming more popular. So how this technology can be effectively used at schools. So one of the reason uses because it's mobile. So people can use this kind of mobile device. They can learn anywhere, anytime. So there's one of the advantage of the mobile devices. So we want to use it at school. So actually, it's best be used outside of school context. So um, what is the mobile technology? So mobile technology includes wireless data connection. So the other one is a portable device and sensors. So for example, this is mobile phone. This is a pad. So they can, with the wireless connection, they can connect to some resource or connect to each other. The educational advantage, one of the most important advantages, they if you use this one, we can learn anytime and anywhere, and also is individualized. So that according to students' needs, students' pace, they can learn a different way through these kind of personal devices. Uh, Also, is particularly good for outdoor learning. Okay. But the problems of mobile learning is
Professor,
some, yes,
I'm sorry. The presentation
yes,
is not working, I think.
it's not working.
It's
Uh,
still like frozen.
Oh, okay, it's frozen.
Yeah.
So you don't see the. Oh,
uh,
I see. Probably.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me.
I think it's okay now, but maybe you need to
Can you see
probably
the
to.
PowerPoint?
Yes, now it's
Oh,
good.
okay,
Thank
okay,
you. Thank you.
okay,
Sorry for
okay.
interrupting.
That's okay. Okay. I'm glad you mentioned if you have some problem, just let me know. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Um, the problem is how to use the mobile device. Uh, if we use this device as a source of your knowledge, so is we call it out of context usage. So it can be a disaster. For example, if you want to go to visit a zoo or a museum, we're supposed to watch the exhibition, the items uh, in the museum, but we don't expect students to see the screen. So we don't want students to learn from computers. So we want to use with computers. The, so the computers played a role of cognition mediator. So it helps students to learn through interaction with the museum, not through the data from the computers. So so we must design the learning based on how to uh, help students to learn through interacting with the exhibition in the context. Uh, the other one is inappropriate instruction design. We do want to ask students to see the surroundings, then to see the computer, the mobile device. So we ask them to frequently attend switch. They can, so they want to see the computer, and then they go to see the other exhibitions. So students are often distracted, and so actually they are could be the bad thing for classroom control. So this is not a good way to ask students to take the to see the device screen all the time. Okay, so I want to introduce my first study. Is we call it post-strict learning. Uh, the purpose we want to know what students have learned, what students have been interested in, what kind of objects during their field trip. So we want to collect them and analyze this kind of data. Then we support students to do the individualized learning after the field trip. So use the zoo as a the research context. So we use it to we invite students to have a field trip to the zoo, and we collect the data, then we analyze. Okay, so the investigation field as a Taipei City Zoo is a 100 years long history. It's one of the top 10 biggest urban zoo in the world. So there's many animal species. So then in the zoo, is divided into areas. So like Asian, the desert, Australian, African. Okay, so the activities, we have a field trip to the zoo, and students use a wearable mobile device. Actually, it's a GPS tracking watch. So it's a watch. Okay, so this watch can record activity without intervention. So students just act as they used to do. They don't do anything different. So but the watch will analyze the navigation, getting pairs, recommendation online resource. So this one is like a child with this is a watch, but there's a GPS function. So they will collect the data, the pairs in the watch. So after the trip, we can retrieve the data from the watch to see where and when this student travel in the zoo. Okay, this is data from the watch. So they say that I think the GPS data is from the location of this is the GPS location of the data in this time, the date and the time. So there's a lot of data. So we use it. It's sometimes similar to big data used in education. So after with the data, we use the data to collect to draw the paths students have traveled to the zoo. So this is a map of the zoo. So we then use the data. We can see the paths a student have traveled in the zoo. Okay. Then later we use this kind of data. We analyze then the automatic create to homepage. There's a connection, the link to the website of the zoo. So two kinds of homepage email to students. One is in visit order. We rank the animals in the visit order. The other one is in duration order. We suppose if your students stay as, for example, to see a tiger for a longer time, then we assume this student is very interested in tiger. So we calculate the duration time. So the longer time we bring the top. So students can see this kind of link. So they can click and to see further information on the web. For example, okay, this is the website. It has many information regard each animal. So this is a link we create for students, for every student. So every group students, they are different from other groups. So we generate this in visit order. They first visit this animal, then next one. So students can see through what animals they visited during the trip. Okay, and this one is in duration order. The first one, the link to the animal, they stay the longest. So we suppose if you see these animals longer, they might be more interesting. Okay. Then then we have some interviews. Okay, uh, for school teachers. Okay, uh, the school teacher will be happy to see if it's a tool to monitor students. Um, Actually, in our uh, uh, analysis, we found one group student. Uh, they just visit uh, the penguin uh, house, and after visit penguin house, they just go to the restaurant to rest. So it's summertime, very hot. So we see, okay, this group did not see many animals. Most of the time, they stay in the restaurant. The watch will show the details. Okay, then further, we interview. Actually, there are not many students are interested in using these kind of resources. Actually, mm, they think these kind of adapted links are irrelevant to student interest. So the first studies uh, shows that students' navigation paths is not really relevant to their interest. Maybe they stay here longer, and it's not necessarily that they are interested in this kind of animal. So we find this as another problem is not appropriate for our consumption. So we find out students roam in a room without goals. If you ask them what they want to see or what they expect to see, most of them they have don't any uh, nothing. They have nothing in mind. They have some kind of animal. They are very interested in the visit. So while they decide what animals they want to visit, they just have some brief discussion or some motivation, or just teachers ask them to do that. So um, is it possible that we can use a mobile device? We can encourage students or facilitate students learning uh, by having set of goals. Okay, so this is of the real study. For study two, the first study just we call it a pilot study, which is used to know the situation and the problem. And the second study, we use it to design a mobile device as a cognitive tools, so helps them to do the self-regulating learning, which means students can uh, monitor themselves, can know what they want. So they set the goal, then they try to pursue this goal. So during their learning activity. Okay. So in this study, we have uh, students for grade 5 and grade 6. Okay. And from then we have 3 teachers. Then we have 5 research students. Uh, we have probably 30, more than 30 elementary school students. So we use these mobile devices. The student first they will self-monitor. Then later after the trip, the field trip, they're refreshing. They have a discussion, then they have refreshings on what they have learned during the field trip. So this is the device for the students. It actually is Nexus 7. Okay,
Oh,
it's a medium size. Yes, yes. Any problem?
no, I can see your presentation, but the connection may be unstable, uh, a little. No, we can hear. Okay, no problem, Prof. Kuo.
Okay. So it's okay now.
It's okay. It's working.
Okay. Okay. So we designed the app. It's for Zoo Visit. So it's Android system. So we use the Adobe Flash, the design app here. So each group of students will carry one this kind of pad with them. Okay. So this is the screenshot of the app. So this is the map of the zoo. Okay. So before the trip, the student they can see this kind of this map. Then they decide what to see. So there's a detail of what kind of animals in this area. For example, this is Africa area. This is for Australia area. So there's some kangaroo in here. Okay. So for koala in this area. Okay. So there's Asia tropical area in Taiwan area. So students they use this pad before the trip. They discuss this group. Each group was given this pad to use. Okay, so students they set up their goal. For example, this is a different area. There's a button. So the green one is the click before their trip. They decide whether want to see. Then during the trip, if they have visited this place, they have saw this animal, then they click again. They can wait. Okay, so they'll see they change to red color. So okay, they have finished their goals. So in this one, student they before the field trip, they decide their plan to visit. So then during the trip, they use it to uh, recall, also remind them the goals they have set, how much they have been completed. Okay, so um, the learning activity we do is before the trip. So the student as a group they discuss, then they click on the pad, and we call the must-see spots. What area they want to see. So during the trip, they just carry the pad so they can navigate the zoo according to their plan. Okay, they have planned what kind of animal they want to see. Okay, and after the trip, so they have discussed. Then also we have uh, some interviews. So we have some kind of data collection uh, to see what they have learned under this kind of design. Okay, so the results here there are some qualitative data and we have some quantitative data. Okay, so the results. So for the observation, these students have shown some active learning. So also they have some intentional learning. So they want to learn something or do something, but they will do as the plan earlier. Okay. So also the mobile device mediate the student to achieve their goals. So this device, the carry on, we can remind them what they have done so far, where is there in this room. Also, they can use this mobile device to take a pictures. Uh, so from the observation data, then we have some tests, and then we are sure the student perform better. Okay, so later I show you some details. Uh, we have some quantitative evidences. So we have done some navigation analysis. Okay, so we analyze their pace of visit. So we also have some scientific attitude measurement. So we have instrument to measure students interested in science education. Okay, so also we have some questionnaires on using PED in field trip uh, to collect students' perceptions on using this kind of pad. So if they like it or if they not, if they consider this pad is useful or not. Uh, okay, so this is these are quantitative evidence. So we show this is for their group. So there we have 7 groups. So students before the trip, they plan how many animals want to see. So 42. Actually, this is the original claim. But most of the other groups, they just see more animal than they originally planned. The problem with these groups, they get lost because the group is so big. So they could not find a way to go to visit the animals. So actually, they don't have enough time to visit the animal, the original plane. So this is a special case for this group. For other groups, they have seen more animals than they used to plane. About the scientific attitude measurement, okay, so we have some kind of instrument for scientific uh, attitude. Okay, so we have pre-test before the trip. We have the pre-test. After the field trip, we have post-test. Okay. But unfortunately, the results show that there's no significant difference. So actually, their attitude did not change before or after the field trip. The reason is just that's just one trip, just in one day. So the time is not enough to create uh, the significant impact. So maybe we have more uh, uh, experiments or more time, but in the long run, maybe there was some change. Okay, so there's no difference according to this kind of attitude measurement. You can see it takes longer time to change students' attitude. Okay, and the result of the questionnaire, student attitude towards impact in the field trip, uh, their perceptions using mobile learning. So all of them feel it's a positive experience. And the reason they say, okay, use this is fun. So actually they can recall in my trips. Actually, student after the trip, we show this kind of their pets to students. They can discuss why they have traveled in the room. Also, there's a camera. They can take pictures. So using this pet. So the other one, there's a pet. So it's my visit friend. So these students before the trip, they claim the orders, so they can use it as a map for them to guide them to achieve their goal. Also, we have some qualitative evidences. So what we have used, one is the joint. Uh, there's a instrument that's used to use to know students' image on, on something, on scientists, on science, on animal. So we, by comparing the drawings before and after the activity, so we can see the change. Okay, so there's a qualitative instrument. Also, we have some interviews with students. So we want to know what their real feelings about this kind of mobile learning during the Zoom visit. Okay. Okay, let me show the qualitative evidence. This pictures drawn by the same student. This one student that drew panda. Okay, before the trip, this after the trip. So you can see, okay, there's some details. Before they just no fingers, but after the trip, the student will look carefully. Okay, so inside it is the fingers, the finger. Okay. The next one before they draw a penguin. Okay, so and after trip they see, okay, there's a more detail. There's a wing. So and then their feet. Okay, it's bird. So there's like bird's feet. Okay, so and there's another student who draw elephant. So that before the trip, he draw elephant. But after the trip, the shows more detail. There's the ears, the elephant. So also there's another student draw panda. Okay, so during the trip, they saw the panda to eat the food. Is the bamboo leaves. There's another one. It's a panda. So there's the face, the change, there's more detail. So there's another one. They student one beginning this the student to draw a koala, but she or he did not know how to draw it. But after the trip, they can draw the koala. Okay. So there's another one. There's a penguin. Okay. Okay. There's a king penguin. So there's a crown similar to crown here. There's another one. There's a tiger, a lion. Okay. Actually, there's a musket. So you see.
Funny.
Okay. So we have some conclusions. So during my result of our research, we sure that mobile technology will enhance student meaningful learning if appropriately adopted. So we can design appropriate instruction, some activity. If we do this once, then students based on their reading. Okay. So in the end, I think the successful e-learning system it must based on education educational framework. We have some learning theory. So in this case, we have some self-regulation learning as the learning foundation. So we use the technology advantages of mobile device used for outdoor learning, also for free choice learning. So the student can learn how they want to learn. So actually we want to match the context and user's needs. So in this case, we encourage students before the trip, the subject goal, they want to, what they want to learn, know, they want to see, then they can use this kind of mobile device in the context. And later we encourage them to discuss and show what they have learned. Okay, thank you. This is my presentation.
Thank you very much for interesting
Pak Ismail.
Professor Huang. That's how mobile technologies actually could enhance students' meaningful learning with some sort of conditions. And one of them is if they are adopted properly and look at the detail of the students learn when they use like what you said before and after. That's really interesting.
Thank you.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'm going to invite you to ask any questions. I'm sure Professor Huang would be pleased to answer them. You can directly unmute your speaker.
I have a question, Professor. I have a question, Professor.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the time, Professor Kuo. It is very interesting, yeah, about outdoor education. Yeah, I think outdoor education is important for various academic subject. Yeah, for example, is for geography, history, and anthropology, and others. I have a question. How to ensure that this ongoing assessment is occur during the implementation of the outdoor education? How to about that? How what's the teacher's role in during the implementation of outdoor education? This is my first question. And then the second one is we know that in pandemic era it is strongly needed that we must develop the independent learning ability to learn independently. Is it possible that outdoor education can improve independent learning skill? For example, in maybe in elementary school, themselves, and also they can maybe control their own pace of their learning.
Pak Puji,
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Pak Puji, maybe you need to repeat again your second question because
Okay.
your
Okay.
network seems.
Okay. Is it possible for outdoor education to develop or maybe to promote the independent learning skill? Yeah, for independent learning skill. For example, that is give opportunity for the student to control their own learning. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
For the first question, how can we implement student or the learning, or we can assess students' performance? Okay, we can use both quantitative and qualitative data. Quantitative, you can use the pre-test and post-test to test the performance of their attitude change or their perceptions. So there's one of the quantitative data we use. But by observation, we can use about qualitative data. We can use observation, or we can use the interviews to do it. Okay. Then for as you the second question, I think we can use a mobile device as um, a tool for actually there's uh, a cognitive tool. So use it as help them to do independent research. For example, um, I have another studies. Student can use their this kind of mobile device to investigate the details of the local environment. Let me show you. Maybe I can have another. Uh, let me show. I have another PowerPoint to show you. Hmm. Okay, here. Okay. Um, oh, let me show you. Hmm? Sorry, I cannot find the.
Okay.
Okay, okay, let's see. Okay, okay. Let me show you the other one. Okay, there's another uh, PowerPoint. Okay, it's here.
Mm.
Uh,
Okay, I
let me
can
see
see
the.
your
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So I use this kind of. Let me show you. Okay, okay, that's it. Maybe that's will answer your second question. During the pandemic, we encourage students to learn outdoor instead of stay in the classroom.
Mm.
So maybe we can invest in the local economy, local environment. So we can use this kind of pad or more food. So this example, this is there's an app we designed for students to investigate what kind of local environment, local business. So there's a some icon. They click on the map, so they can use this to recall what kind of uh, busy or some kind of business or shop in the. So the student co-created this kind of economy map with several students as very many groups. So each area is for one group is for one group. So, but later on, the students they can integrate all the data they have investigate then combine as a map for their hometown about the economy. So actually they can create a map about what kind of shop, what kind of business, what kind of uh, natural environment or river in their hometown. Okay, so there's one. Okay, there's it. Okay, so I show you probably now is uh, we can encourage students to uh, engage in some investigation with mobile device. There's one solution. Okay, that's my answer.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor. Uh,
Yeah,
Pak
thank
Puji?
you. Yeah, I can understand what Prof. Go said before, I think.
Okay. Professor, we have another question
Yes.
from Ibu Novi. I'm going to read it for you. It's in the
Yeah.
chat. Could you tell us about how do you explore children's need for developing the mobile learning toolkit, and what kind of learning strategies that compatible to integrate this technology?
Okay.
So there are two questions, Professor.
Okay. So, how to explore the question students need, or we actually the teaching strategy. Okay. For mobile device, mobile technology, the advantage of the mobile device is they can use one one student has one device, so they have some mobility. For example, they can run, they can carry out, so they can do something, not sitting in front of computers. And through wireless network, they can communicate with each other. So if one uses a mobile device, I suggest to consider what kind of learning activity that needs your students' mobility. For example, there's some kind of field trip is a good one. So you have some local investigation. Also, there's a good one. So also you have some kind of on-campus management. There, so it's good. Or you want to uh, uh, for example, some kind of use it, we call it VR. Okay, there's there are some of the trend is we call it AR, augmented reality. So there are some interesting game of my history combine the mobile device and some kind of building or scene. So there's also some possibility. So uh, instead of so improve students' needs, I now want to say there's uh, explore the connection between your teaching content and the advantage of mobile device, mobile learning. Okay, that's my first question. How about what is the second question? The
Okay.
the second question.
Yes, the second question is
Yes.
what kind of learning strategies that compatible to integrate this technology?
Oh, okay. I am the two directions. One is individualized learning. So we want to we want to support individualized learning, which is every student has his own learning path, uh, only speed, learning speed. So under this kind of circumstance, so we want to support students to learn because students' learning path and study content is different. So each student will be given one path, so they can use because they see different contents and different speed. So individualized learning is the key. So we want to design some kind of use kind of teaching strategy or teaching method. Let's encourage students to learn by themselves. So they can do it differently. The other one is quite different. We call it collaborative learning. So we encourage students to learn by doing something together. So, for example, as I said, we earlier we have encouraged one class of students to investigate the local business. So students will be divided into groups, so they can distribute their job, so they can each group has its own job, so they can to travel and to collect the data. Then later they come back, then they combine the data and to form the whole map of the local hometown. So we want to use cooperative learning, so through mobile device, so each group they can do their work by themselves. But later we can encourage them, they can put together their work as group work. So because they can communicate, so they can talk to each other, so they can put their work together. Okay, that's my answer.
Okay, Profesor. Mbak Novi. Jadi tadi yang terkait learning strategies itu bisa memakai individualized learning atau collaborative learning dengan penjelasan bahwa individualized learning itu dapat meningkatkan students learning secara mandiri by themselves gitu Mbak Novi. Terkait dengan collaborative learning itu juga bisa memprovoke atau sebagai boosting mereka untuk bekerja dalam kelompok atau collaborative work into groups. Professor, does it mean that it also depends on the instructional design that teachers plan to apply for them, for the students, I mean?
Yes, we use a strategy and using the more mobility of the mobility. So,
okay, thank you very much. Okay, Bapak Ibu, ada pertanyaan? Oh, ada pertanyaan. We have another question, Professor.
yeah, I saw that there's a.
Yep, okay. I'm read it for you from Bapak Firman Alafasi. Hello, Professor Kuo-Hung. I want to ask some question about the mobile applications and the learning activity. We know that children today really like the use of gadgets. And the theme of this research is very interesting by involving the use of tabs as a guide for students to explore their experiences at the zoo. What I want to ask, maybe I missed that, is an application that is integrated with the location of the selected zoo available in all gadgets? That's the first question. And how many zoos are listed on the applications? Then in the application section, why do we not explore more information obtained by students than just targeting the number of animals that will be seen and visited. Maybe in the future, this application can be developed as a do and task application so that children feel they have challenges that must be resolved, because children will prefer multiple challenges so that more information they learn can be obtained with the help of this mobile application. What do you think about this, Professor?
Okay, this is a good question and good suggestion. Okay,
Mhm.
about this the app. Actually, this okay is designed for Taipei City Zoo, so only because it's the biggest zoo in Taiwan. So probably you have the most um, probably we have the biggest collection of animals. So, but Taiwan is quite small. By by a bus, it takes about 2 hours to from central Taiwan to Taipei City. It's not too far. So actually, it's, if you want to visit a zoo, then probably Taipei City Zoo is the best selection. So our application is designed for Taipei City Zoo only. So this is app used for Taipei City Zoo. So we actually use the data, the animals at different area, you according then put in the map of the zoo. So it's not for other zoo. Okay, then yes, the common the installation is pretty good. Yes, we notice now we use plug in the number of animals. Okay. Actually, we have some qualitative analysis about the details of students drawing doing their drawing. But actually, there's a good suggestion if you put some challenging question, maybe yeah, in advance. Maybe they just don't want to take a picture then to draw. Maybe they can, according to the question, they can uh, to observe the animal's behavior, observe some quite different features of some kind of animals. Yeah, that will be much better than just to see if they have visited the animals, the numbers. Okay, I thank you for your suggestion. I think this is a very good point. Okay, that in the future maybe we will do some improvement. Thank you.
You're welcome, Mr. Kuo-Hung.
Terima kasih Pak Firmansyah. Pak Firmansyah udah mirip orang Taiwan sebenarnya ini ya.
Saya dari TGSD, Ibu.
Oh, GSD. Bapak sudah menangkap apa yang disampaikan
Sudah,
Pak
sudah,
Ko?
insya
Ya,
Allah.
okay. Jadi memang zoo-nya itu memang ditargetkannya public zoo gitu ya, public zoo. Oke, dan suggestion dari Pak Firmansyah sangat welcome untuk further research oleh Pak Kuo-Hung. Terima kasih banyak Pak Firmansyah.
Sama-sama, Ibu.
Baik, Bapak Ibu, ada pertanyaan lagi? Monggo silahkan. Monggo, Bapak Ibu. Professor, because of the network, I was join and then out again of the Zoom. Maybe I missed that too. I'm going to ask you a question. It's really interesting how students, like what you showed us before and after, they could put the detail into their drawings. So I'm just curious about how could that happen? I mean, what kind of factors that make them can do much detail when they draw the animals?
I think if there's the we spend time then to see the animals. Okay, so use them for a while. They can see the details. If not, but probably we have some the all field trip students just play around. They actually they don't pay attention to to seeing the animal. They don't observe. They just want to play. And it's as I said earlier, it's a leisure time. But when you ask them to plan their what they want to see, they will concentrate on observing the animal.
Okay, that's really interesting. Because I think it also depends on the learner characteristics. Because I think in here we have problems on how to control them in using the gadgets. So I mean, I think if we provide them with the mobile, well, I think there would be a problem. Maybe they are going to have fun with their gadget instead of do the instruction or something. Probably.
Okay.
Do you have the same problem maybe in your case? Or if so, how can we actually control or monitor the students to stay in track or to that the instruction?
There's some problem here. In many schools, the government encourage the school teacher to introduce the mobile device into classroom. So as we saw many times, students become distracted by the game or some kind of interesting exercise. So they do not pay attention to the school classroom activities. So the the key point here is if we students want they need to just set up a goal for them, or they set up their own goal. What you want to do it. For example, if you play game, students want to play game play a long time because you want to play one case by level to increase. So they will willing to it. So if you will set up as your colleagues area, we set up some kind of challenging test, or we encourage they set up their goal before the trip. So they are encouraged or they are challenged. So they want to get higher level. So it's like a game. So the student will to achieve something instead of the play around.
Interesting. So also setting up the prior condition is very, very significant,
Yes.
Professor. Okay, thank you so much. I'm so curious about that. Okay.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you still have any question? Bapak Ibu? Bu Kris? Biasanya ibu saya nih, Bu Kris.
Halo.
Halo. Ibu Kris.
Halo, Mr. Hong.
Hello.
Kuo.
How I can call our professor, this professor, Mr. Huang, or sorry,
Yes,
Kuo-Hung. Okay. Mr. Kuo-Hung, yes, it's interesting to know what you have done in your research. But I want to know what kind of learning apa tuh Mbak Yanti hasil belajar?
Outcomes.
Oh yes. Okay.
Learning
Thank you. What are learning outcome student can achieve? Maybe about characters. For example, accountability, cooperative, or enthusiasm, enthusiasm in learning is a teacher measure this those outcome and in this research how teacher keep children's motivation to learn during the trip. I think Professor understand what I mean. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
The purpose is not, although we have done some research comparing the students' attitude,
Yeah.
or that have, or their we call it self-regulation learning, so their attitude of their concentration on learning. Okay. But actually the result indicates is not significant difference. But the purpose is that if it's possible, we can use mobile device during free choice learning context. They can encourage students to conduct engaging self-organization learning goals. But we can not only in the zoo, for example, into a museum or to some kind of practice or some kind of research, okay, some kind of scientific experiment. So can we, if you students are given freedom to explore, to do something, if we cannot just ask them to do this one by one step. We cannot always do it to see monitor students to do it as we order them to do. Instead, we want to encourage students to monitor themselves, to set up the goal by themselves, and then to pursue their goal step by step. So that's what I used in this study. That mobile device is just a tool, but actually it just will support students how to conduct in self-regulated learning, which is they can enhance their motivation to learn, then they set up their goal and to pursue the goal. Okay, that's my answer.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Terima
Ya
kasih,
Mbak Yanti,
Bu.
saya kembalikan Mbak Yanti dulu.
Oke. Masih ada yang belum terjawab mungkin Ibu?
Sudah
Terkait
ya, ya.
karakter tadi ya?
Ya, pikir saya sekarang kan sudah ber-21, artinya semua all of student activities itu we hope that is promote learning gitu. Itu loh. Dimana learning itu hasilnya ya integrated, bukan hanya mengenal hewan-hewan seperti tadi, mengidentifikasi hewan-hewan, tapi juga ada unsur-unsur afektif domain yang bisa diraih begitu. Terutama terkait dengan harapan di abad 21 itu mereka punya skills ya, communication skills, about critical thinking skills and social skills, I think. Begitu. Ya itu aja untuk meramaikan suasana.
Atau nuwun Bu Kris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, because of my English is very little.
Oh, your English is very good.
Your
I
English
understand your English. Yeah,
perfect.
that's okay.
Yeah, Mr. Hung, I think when we teach our students, we need the learning outcome is very varieties, not only cognitive dimension, but also about social skills. Indonesian call is characters. Yeah, in social skills area, affective area, and I think it's integrated in our learning experience. So I want to know how teacher could to
Integrate.
integrate and also could measure this learning outcome beside knowledge area. I think it's my question.
Specifically in affective domain,
Affective
Professor.
domain, yes. Yes, about skills in affective domain, yeah. Communication skills, um, caring skills to others,
Maybe
and
responsibility.
I think with investigation models or method or trip project, I think many kinds of learning outcomes can achieved by students. It is my idea. Thank you. And I'm sorry, my English is so little.
Your
Okay.
English is
Okay.
perfect.
Okay. Just it's a big question, but what I want to say is technology or media is not a key point for improve student learning. Uh, Teachers or we say instruction pedagogy, instruction activities or learning activity design is the key point. Okay, as a a professor or Clark has mentioned that he always says media is not always the key factor. So for some affective domain, for example, attitude or some social skills, this is not directly related to the content knowledge. So uh, is technology is not necessarily is the best media
Yeah,
to enhance the learning.
yeah,
So instead, we have some kind of instruction design, like you have some kind of cooperation. So
yeah.
you have some kind of situation learning. You have some more authentic experience with
To assess.
yeah. So the project-based learning. Okay, these are some other instruction strategy that I mean is more useful uh, in this area. Technology is not necessarily useful. The main point is not the technology itself, but it's the instruction design behind using this technology. Okay, that's my
Yes.
answer.
Okay. Yes, I agree with you. And um, I just remember maybe 2 weeks ago, we discussed with uh, uh, presenter from Japan, and I asked him that I think yes, technology is good to uh, promote learning uh, uh, in area of knowledge and skills, but not in education. I agree with Frankie that education that teacher that the role of teacher is not uh, technology, can teach, can educate students. Bagaimana Mbak Yanti ini, Mbak Yanti? Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. Technology itself cannot teach, but it's the activity design using the technology will make the difference.
Yeah. Yes, I agree that it is about technology and gadget and mobile phone, and everyone have mobile phone, and I think it's have a positive impact to learning. But I want to say that to educate students about values, I think the calm of teacher in the class and to guide students, it is very important. So I think technology is needed, but also teacher teacher have to um, to come in the class with student, I think.
Maybe to facilitate the students.
Yeah, I think value itu ya, maksud saya jadi mengacu pada definisi pada pendapat Sprangby itu saya kira tetap memang teknologi itu bagus diperlukan dan itu untuk mengejarkan knowledge and skills, tetapi untuk value itu tetap tidak bisa peran guru tidak bisa digantikan oleh teknologi sepenuhnya. Karena itu tadi pertanyaan saya about affective domain, itu guru tetap harus hadir, harus harus bersama dengan siswa untuk memberikan kepedulian, memberikan kasih, memberikan pendidikan begitu. Transfer of value.
Oke.
Sorry, aku nggak pakai ini ya kamera Mbak Yanti. Ini backgroundnya rotok kacau.
Ibu.
Maaf.
Mungkin
sorry, I am talk too much. Sorry.
No,
yeah,
Ibu.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing your viewpoint. That's good.
Good point.
Maybe Mbak Yanti could translate to our professor, our great professor here about my opinion. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Prof. Huang. So Ibu Chris said that using technology into classroom or integrate the technology into classroom is really significant. But how about to do transfer of value into the teaching and learning process using the technology? I mean, despite of the cognitive and also skills, we do agree that the domain of the learning outcome should be achieved comprehensively, including the value or affective domain. So using this kind of technologies, how do we transfer value and also the attitude, affective domain to the students? Because technology cannot replace teachers.
Not always
right?
It's not always the best solution.
More and less like that.
For example, you have some physical education or some hands-on experience. You need to the real interaction, real communication. So not all the subject areas is good to deliver by technology. So I think that is true. So you don't have to use technology all the time.
Aku nggak bisa dengar ya. Mbak Monik bisa dengar nggak? I think we lost you, Professor Huang. Could
Well,
you repeat it?
okay.
Once again?
So,
Sorry.
what I mean is that you don't have to use technology all the time. It's for some area, for some uh, domain, technology is not the best, yeah, tool to use. Yeah, that's true.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Bu
thank you.
Chris?
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Huang. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you very much, Prof. Huang. We always discuss right, together and ya and apa namanya yang ramai gitu ya apa namanya ya
Dynamic.
yeah, thank you very much for our dynamic discussion. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu. Very interesting question. Oke, Bapak dan Ibu, barangkali masih ada pertanyaan, kami persilahkan. Bapak Ismail barangkali. Bapak Ibu yang lain? Bagaimana Pak Puji? Unmute dulu Pak. Oh. Baik, Bapak Ibu. Jika tidak ada pertanyaan lagi, barangkali dicukupkan ya, dicukupkan. Apa namanya materi dari Pak Profesor Huang sudah kami bagikan di chat. Jadi barangkali nanti bisa di-download, monggo silahkan. Dan juga kami sediakan link untuk presensi ya Bapak Ibu. Monggo diisi. Cuman tadi Teh Puji memang kayaknya setting ininya GF-nya apa yang asal instansi itu belum benar gitu ya. Oke. Pak Puji, apakah bisa diakhiri sekarang atau masih ada pertanyaan dari Bapak Ibu? I think we lost Puji. Thank you very much, Prof. Huang. So it's very interesting speech and discussion. We have so many questions that we've been discussed in this session. And okay, ladies and gentlemen, as a token of our appreciation to our guest lecturer for his time and his valuable contribution, may I request the participants to kindly give applause to Prof. Huang by using the applause icon in the chat menu to the reaction, I think, because in... Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you.
Prof. Huang, for your significant talk. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So I enjoyed talk with you. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I thank you for your participations in this guest lecture program. I hope you enjoy it, and we have so many beneficial sharing information between Taiwan and Indonesia. And I hope that Professor Huang, we can do a much more collaborative cooperation in the near future.
Okay, definitely.
Thank
For example, maybe Shanti, for double degree, we have a double degree with NGU. for graduate program. So maybe in the next year, or maybe I don't know, it's possibility for Chai University. Okay.
Okay, we will do it. Yeah, I have a plan something. Okay, yeah, I
Okay.
promise.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Professor. Okay.
Thank you, Professor. See you in another occasion. Thank you so
Have a nice day.
much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
Thank
day.
you very much.
Stay
Okay.
safe.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.